So, for the longest time, we've wanted to show you how to make Chinese New Orleans chicken wings. See, they're this modern classic over here. Like, if you asked 10 people in China what they knew about the city of New Orleans, probably 9 of them would quickly retort chicken wings. And while the origin of this wing is kind of mysterious, more on that in a second, KFC China's probably got the oldest, most famous version, though these days it's spread around to be a super ubiquitous cheap snack the country over. For almost anyone in the mainland under the age of like 30, it's a childhood classic. Just one of those simple good things. And I mean, a honey-baked chicken wing marinated in spice mix, how could you go wrong? But like, here's the thing that's consumed me. China's New Orleans chicken wings aren't actually from New Orleans, right?
Yeah, we don't have New Orleans chicken wings in Louisiana.
I mean, I get it if the spice mix was somehow based off that classic Creole mix, even a mass-produced one, but it doesn't really seem to be. So we've got a conundrum here, but let's be honest, this is exactly the type of conundrum that we like to tell. So then, how did these chicken wings become New Orleans? Now, of course, there's obviously a pretty rich history of Chinese dishes trolling the world, naming themselves after relatively random places. Swiss wings are not from Switzerland. Singapore rice noodles are not from Singapore. And Yangzhou fried rice isn't even from Yangzhou. But like, at least Yangzhou fried rice probably got its name from a Yangzhou-style restaurant in Old Guangzhou, and Singapore rice noodles you could at least understand because of the turmeric and curry powder. But like, what's New Orleans about New Orleans wings? After months and months of pulling at the faintest strings researching this, we came up empty time and time again. That is, until our recent Hunan over rice video, where on a whim we decided to pick up some Chinese New Orleans-style rotisserie chicken to see if it could make for a good chai gu rou hou bao dan. But this ended up being the breakthrough that we had been waiting for. Spectacularly, right there in the app, the supermarket that sold it had, at long last, a definitive origin story of New Orleans chicken, which we'll translate for you right now. So, the story goes that back in the 1800s, in a small town in the American South, there was an American man who kept a number of chickens in his kitchen. But, in a fit of misfortune, this man's kitchen had a fire and ended up burning all down. But, as he was clearing away the rubble from the fire, he ended up finding some chickens that were burnt to a crisp. But because, in the American South, at the time, chickens were just so valuable, he decided to eat the burnt chickens anyway, and he actually found out that they were quite delicious. Inspired by this, over the years he adjusted his method of making the chicken, naming the dish after himself. Because that man's name? None other than Mr. Orleans. So, definitive origin story in hand, we can finally get around to showing you how to make this modern Chinese classic. And the good news is that, in all seriousness, it is a pretty simple, addictively delicious wing that you can whip up with ingredients that you can find pretty much everywhere. So then, first things first, let's take a look at that New Orleans chicken wing spice mix. Now, whether you're talking home cook or small restaurant, generally people here will just reach for these packages of pre-mixed spices. It's mostly a base of paprika, salt, sugar, MSG, and spice-wise, the processed food musts like garlic and onion powder. Then besides that, it's also got some coloring agents, because over the years, New Orleans chicken seems to have gotten increasingly neon orange from its KFC roots. And then finally, the last additive that you can often find in these mixes is something called乙基麦芽酚, or ethyl maltol. Now, ethyl maltol is becoming this increasingly common additive these days in China, especially in street food kind of fare. It's supposed to sort of taste like caramelized meat, but honestly, both me and Steph really kind of dislike the ingredient, so we won't be using it. Just know that if you wanted to 100% mimic that bag, you would need a touch. So then, to make that mix, just combine together 1 tablespoon each salt, sugar, chicken bouillon powder, and paprika, a half teaspoon onion powder, an 1/8 teaspoon garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon each MSG and white pepper powder, and an 1/8 teaspoon cayenne pepper. This will basically get us to where the package is flavor-wise. Second, to sort the color, this package uses a bit of red yeast rice red, so we'll go the natural route and ground up a half teaspoon of red yeast rice and toss that into the mix as well. If you can't get that, no problem. 1 drop of red velvet would also get you there, or honestly, feel free to skip it. Paprika's pretty red as is. That said, New Orleans chicken here is usually more orange than red, so 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, and give that all a quick mix. Then, to a bowl of 20 chicken wings, toss in the spices and mix that really, really well. Take your time, give it a minute or two, get your hands dirty, and really massage that spice mix into the wings. Then transfer over to a storage bowl. Wash out the remaining spices with 2 tablespoons of water, then just cover that all up, and let that marinate in the fridge for at least 8 hours or ideally over 24. So then, 1 full day later now, take out the wings and add in a half teaspoon of baking soda. Mix well and let that sit for another 30 to 60 minutes. Then add in 2 tablespoons of oil to the wings and give that another good mix. Then just toss those onto a baking tray, foil lined of course, and bake those in a preheated 210 centigrade oven for 20 minutes at first. Then, in a bowl, mix together 2 parts honey to 1 part oil, and at the 20-minute mark, brush that mix onto the wings. Let that bake for another 2 minutes, flip, brush it on again, and bake for another 2 minutes again. Then remove, rest for a couple minutes, and then with that, you've got yourself some Chinese New Orleans chicken wings. Simple, tasty, and hopefully we were able to do Mr. Orleans' famed wings a bit of justice.
So, the story of Mr. Orleans and his burnt chicken, it's probably not true, as we're all too familiar with the burnt down kitchen trope. Anyway, according to all of our research, it does seem like KFC seemed to be the originator of this Orleans chicken wing, but we don't have any solid evidence there, so if any of you know any of those behind-the-scenes secrets, do let us know. So right, check out the recipe in the description box. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon. Happy April Fool's Day, and of course, subscribe for more Chinese cooking videos.